Welcome everyone to the Gerstlauer speculation live stream. I am your host, Carrick from Coaster Hour, and how this stream is going to work is for the first few minutes, as you can see, I started a little bit early. We're going to be doing a bit of pre-speculation Q&A just to do it, just so we can get some people on before we actually get into the speculation. And how that's going to work is I'm going to ask beforehand, where do you think this Gerstlauer is going? And then I'm actually going to go into my 10 park possibilities that I have. I have a top 10 list of parks that I think this thing could go to. And I'll kind of explain the reasons why I think they could happen. So that's going to be pretty much the format of this stream. We'll probably do a Q&A and I might talk about some other news topics afterwards, but that is the plan. And also, this is the first stream in a while I've done without like a guest or anyone to talk to, so that's also going to be interesting. But welcome everyone to the stream. So you can ask your questions now. We'll do this before we get into the speculation, which will start right around probably around 7:02 Eastern time is when I plan to start it. But yeah, ask your questions and then we'll go into the speculation like I said at 7:02 Eastern, just so we can get some more people in here before we start. I have no idea how this is going to do views-wise. Hopefully we can get a good amount of people in here. Already 7 people, that's pretty solid. Do you think that this could be going to a Universal Park? It's not in my top 10, I'll just say that. I just think the low capacity of it would be a pretty big issue. And then the other thing with that as well is that Universal Studios Florida, which is the one I could see it going to, they already have Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, which is potentially similar to what they could be getting. And along with that, they have spent a lot of money on their previous 2 coaster projects over there in Orlando, and they have Epic Universe. So I really don't think this is going to be a Universal coaster. Your choice is Icon Park. I'm going to go into that. Happy to see now that more people are putting that out there as a suggestion, because I was like, I think I was like the first one I saw on there online who actually put it out there. So at least that I saw. There probably was someone else, but that was like kind of the one that I had as a possibility. I'll go into that for sure. But yeah. Think it'll be an 8-seater or a 16. Really depends on where it's going to. But honestly, I think it's probably going to be an 8, just because I do believe, and spoiler alert, this is probably going to a smaller park. But I would honestly bet on the 8-seater. That would be my prediction there. But yeah, that's what I would think would happen. But yeah, Six Flags, I think they're completely out of the running for this, just because of the new Texas Giant incident that happened last year. And also, we probably already would have known about it if they were going to be opening this in 2022. And really, your only options there are like Magic Mountain, which they're already getting their coaster. Discovery Kingdom, they're already getting their coaster. Fiesta Texas, I believe, is open year-round. They are already getting their coaster. And then over Texas, I don't believe is open year-round, but maybe they could have an announcement. They are also opening a coaster. So I don't think that's going to happen. I'll just say that much. But yeah. Do I think it could be an extension of a current Infinity Coaster? So maybe a current Infinity Coaster with a longer layout than it already has, like an extended version of, like, say, Hang Time or something like that. Probably not. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but I don't think it's gonna be something like that. But if it is, then that's a pretty good call. I did not even think of that, of it being a clone or an extended clone of an already existing Infinity Coaster. I did not think of that at all, so that is interesting. This coaster is going to be in the US. It was said in the article. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out. pinned comment, and it's also in the description. And I'll go over it a teeny bit at the very beginning at 7:02 Eastern when I actually get into the speculation. But Canada's Wonderland's completely out of the running because it's not in the US. So yeah, lift or launch? Probably lift. I'm gonna bet towards a lift. That it kind of ties in with the potential parks I think it's going to. I think a lift would make more sense for this because I think a launch would be harder to incorporate in a compact coaster. But yeah, I do think this is more likely for a smaller park. Like I said, I'll be going into the top 10, I think it is, in just a few minutes here. But probably a smaller park. I'll kind of go into why I think that. But yeah, I don't think it would be a Cedar Fair park either. Actually, I will straight up say they're completely out of the running as well. I'm not even going to mention Cedar Point like in that thing, but basically it's not going to be Cedar Fair because they already announced all their 2022 additions. They had an investors article, and the only new ride that was coming to the entire chain, at least from the dry aspect or the dry side of things, is Toonbilly. So I do not see that happening. And no, I don't believe this is Cedar Point's coaster. Cedar Point isn't even open in late 2022. So definitely not something that that I think it could be, for sure. Karn and Clone coming to Kwasi. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, I agree. I think it could be something like Monster, certainly. Probably on a smaller scale, but I certainly something like that is what I'm kind of expecting. Yeah, I did see the new video from Hunter and Theme Park Hunting. Great video. I have it in a description because I will probably reference it when I get to one of my potential parks. But yeah, Christian, I saw it. It was a great video. You did the thumbnail, by the way. Good job on that. That looked really cool. Yeah. Maybe in the LA area. I've heard some people suggest that. Coaster Studios just had his video, and I actually did put 2 new options that I didn't have beforehand. Because of his video, he made some good points. And he mentioned a few of the parks. I find it pretty unlikely that it's going to be in the LA area because your options are really limited if it is. And I don't think the parks have the room nor the funds to get the new ride. So, yeah. Parque Reunidos, I don't believe I have a park owned by them that would be on my top 10. I'd have to look at the list, but I'm pretty sure I don't, so probably not. But yeah. Wasn't this announced a while ago? This is not Defiance. I have a link to the article at the top. This literally got announced, I believe, yesterday. This new coaster. This is not Defiance at Glenwood Caverns. This is something completely different. Just announced yesterday by Ride Entertainment that there's going to be a new Gerstlauer opening in late 2022. So this is not confirmed. We have no confirmation as to where this coaster will go. It is 4:01, 1 minute away from when I'm going to start going into my speculation. So I'll go through any last questions here. And do I think this could be a Herschend park? I'm going to go into that a little bit in about a minute. And I saw Peppa Pig theme park. That'd be hilarious. I saw that as a joke somewhere. That would actually be hilarious. Wouldn't bet on it, but that would be so funny if that ended up being true. Yeah. But yeah, okay, it's 7:02 Eastern, so I'm going to go into my question before I go into the park possibilities, and that is that where do you guys think the Gerstlauer is going? I mean, you've kind of hinted at it with some of your questions, but what are your potential predictions, potential parks that you think that this thing could be going to? You don't have to just settle on one. You can throw them all out there. I'm just curious to see. Yeah. Conneaut Lake Park, rest in peace. Don't see that happening. Fun Spot America, definitely we'll be talking about that one because I do think there's a legitimate possibility there, for sure. The Orlando location more likely. But I think my brother called me. That's strange because I told him that I was on stream. But yeah, Fun Spot America, Orlando certainly could be the pick. Absolutely. There are some reasons though why I think it might not be. But certainly it's definitely one of the stronger ones. Cedar Point, I mentioned this earlier. I think there's no chance. Cedar Fair did not mention it at all in their investors thing where they outlined everything they're doing for 2022 in terms of additions. And the park's not open in late 2022 unless you count October. But I would say there's like very little chance. But I mean, maybe you'll be right, but I find it extremely unlikely. Valley Fair, also a seasonal park. I don't see it for that reason. The actual announcement is going to be during IAAPA, so somewhere between November 15th and 19th, if I'm correct. So, good question. But yeah. The IMA score thing, I believe, for Cedar Point was for Snake River Expedition. I think I got the name of that right. Hopefully I did. But let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna mention the RMC for Fun Spot because that actually could be something that's most against it. Cotaland, definitely gonna go into that one because I do also think that's a legitimate possibility. Pretty under the radar park, but it makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. Wild Adventures, I'll go into that one a little bit too. Yeah, and the other thing too, yeah, and Coaster Studios mentioned this, and then a few other people have, but WNY Coaster makes a good point here. A big park wouldn't have the manufacturer announce this coaster. That's the other thing we kind of have to keep in mind, because why would Cedar Point, if they were getting it, make the announcement at IAAPA, and it's not even them, it's Gerstlauer. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. The new indoor park in Ohio, that thing's not going to be open by late 2022 is the problem, and it hasn't even been fully approved, so I think that's completely out of the question, though it did look like they had a Gerstlauer coaster in the concept art, so good catch there. Disney, no, there's no way. I've heard some people suggest they could replace Primeval Whirl with one. That's just not going to happen. We would have already known if they were going to do that because they announced their ride so way ahead of time, so definitely not. I don't know necessarily that it won't be a chain park, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. The Alabama Adventures thing, yes, so there's something that I had to confirm this with people on a forum. Alabama Adventure has not actually confirmed themselves that they are getting a water park edition for 2022. Someone started that like rumor or claim somewhere. I tried to reach out to the park to get a definitive answer, but that is pretty much false from what I've heard. They've done some teasing, but I could not find anything anywhere saying that they actually announced a water park edition for 2022. And there's some people I've looked through different forums and stuff, and some people who have actually talked to the people working there, from what I've heard, said that is not true. So I don't think that claim is correct. So yeah, but we'll see what happens. But I think now that we've kind of gone through your guys's possibilities, I'm going to be going through my top 10 parks that I think this could be going to, and I'll explain each one from least likely to most likely. That's the order I'm going with. And after each one, I'll see what your guys' thoughts are on these parks. But my number 10 park I have is Wild Adventures. Really, the only reason why this is on here is because they removed Cheetah, and they could desperately use a new coaster, but the problem here with this park is it's not open year-round currently. It's pretty neglected. It is a chain park. Would be weird to have an announcement like this from a manufacturer. And in the article, actually, I'll go back to the article before I go to the next one, just so I have this down for the more serious contenders. But it mentions that the park would have to be, or the location would be a high-profile location in the article, and this certainly would not fit that. But also, I think a lot of people are taking that high-profile wording a little too seriously because they could totally make something up. I mean, the Defiance thing was very over-exaggerated in terms of its record-breaking nature, so I wouldn't look too hard into the high profile thing. Although, yeah, at a high profile location, I wouldn't look too far into it. But yeah, and then yeah, there was a racing thing, but it was part of a quote. That's also, I think, kind of reaching, but maybe it does mean something. We'll see. But what do you guys think of Wild Adventures? I think this is very unlikely, but I put it in here because why not? No, Cheetah's not going to get RMC'd. I mean, from my understanding, they've taken out what would be needed for an RMC, so I don't think it is getting RMC'd. I think at this point, it's pretty much gone. Yeah, the whole structure is gone. From my understanding, so that is not happening. For a little bit it was up, but I think it's gone. But yeah, it doesn't really seem like anyone here actually thinks this is gonna be would legitimately happen. It would be a nice addition for them for sure. I just think there's a lot of things kind of going against Wild Adventures to get this addition, so I guess I'll move on to... Actually, I guess I'll explain the article a little bit. For those who didn't see it, I have it pinned. But basically, like I said earlier, Gerstlauer, or Ride Entertainment, announced that Gerstlauer was going to build a one-of-a-kind Infinity Coaster in the US that was going to open in late 2022. And this ride will be announced at IAAPA in Orlando next month, so in the middle of November. And the CEO and founder of Ride Entertainment, Ed Hiller, said about this new coaster that this, in quote, this new Infinity Coaster will have guests racing to it in order to be the first to ride, as it is being installed at a high-profile location. So that is like the big quote that people are highlighting. So high profile and racing are some words that some people are really looking at. We'll see how like serious the wording was when this thing will get announced. But yeah, so now I'll move on to my next park, which will be Kima Boardwalk in Houston, Texas. This was suggested earlier in the Coaster Studios video. Some reasons I could see this happening. This place is open year-round. I checked. They are indeed open year-round. Coaster Studios claims the park does have space. I'd have to look into it myself, but I will assume they do. If someone is more familiar and that's not the case, let me know. That's also why I'm doing this stream. But the problems here with this park is I wouldn't exactly call this location high profile. It is by the ocean, so you could maybe argue that, but I don't know about that. And then Iron Shark is not too far away. Now an Infinity could be very different from a Eurofighter, especially if they go the launched route, but that does seem to kind of hurt it. I think there's an okay like chance of this happening. I don't think it's really likely either. It's why it's pretty far down on here, but I thought it was a pretty interesting potential park. So what do you guys think? Not too much room. That's kind of what I expected. They'd have to expand or take out rides, and I think something like that is possible. I think some people saying that a park doesn't have too much room, there is still a decent amount of time. So I think they could do it. It's not something out of the realm of possibility. But we'll see what happens. I don't think the general public would claim that Kima is copying Galveston. If it's especially if it's a launch, the only problem is that would take up even more room. Then that would, I mean, that would make it very different if it were a launch. But I don't think it would be an issue. Like I said, it's pretty low for me though, because I don't think this is as likely as some of the other locations that I'll mention. But it was interesting, and I do think this one actually, I wouldn't be the most shocked if this was the park to get the new coaster. But with that being said, I'm going to be moving on to my next park, NASCAR Speed Park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. This was another one suggested by Taylor from Coaster Studios, and one that I was not aware of at all. But basically, why this park? This is a little park that is kind of on like near the highway for Pigeon Forge. You have to pass it, I believe, to go to Dollywood or do pretty much a lot in Pigeon Forge. So one of the arguments was you could probably see it from a long distance away, and it would definitely stand out and probably bring people in. So it's got a good location, and it's in a very touristy area, so that could be high profile. It's a NASCAR place, so the racing would actually make sense here. I'm not 100% sure if this place is open year round, but I think it might be. I just wonder about how cold would it have to be for this coaster not to run, because it can get pretty cold over there in Pigeon Forge. But some reasons why I think this couldn't happen, and there's actually another place that has to do with racing that I think is more likely, which I'll get to. But some of the things that are kind of going against this park, the owner of this park is, I forget the name of it. I literally just researched it beforehand. But they used to own like Six Flags Darien Lake and Magic Springs and several other parks, including 2 other NASCAR speed park places. And they have been shrinking. They only now own this park, and they're probably not in a good financial situation. So that's kind of one thing against them. And this is a much larger investment than anything we've seen from this park. So it's an interesting suggestion, but I am not sold on this one at all. But yeah, just saw Enthusiast Roundtable in the chat. Hello. And oh yeah, and some people did bring up that Dollywood having 2 Gerstlauers. If it were different enough, I think it would be fine. I really don't think that's that big of an issue. Even if it has like a beyond vertical drop and everything. Mystery Mine's like kind of like a entire like themed experience. So I don't think that's that big of a deal. But it is a possibility that I certainly was very surprised to hear of when I heard it today. So yeah. But yeah. So I'm gonna move on then to my next park possibility. This one's been mentioned a lot. Mattel Adventure Park in Phoenix, Arizona. So basically why this could happen, the park is actually opening in late 2022. Perfect match. They are getting a major new coaster by an unconfirmed manufacturer, and this would probably count as a high profile location considering how new it is and how kind of ambitious this project is. But the major problem here is, while it's not confirmed, the coaster model very much looks like something that Chance Rides would do. Potentially their new Hyper, is it Looping Hyper GTX? I think that's what it's called. It looks very similar to that. The coaster looks nothing like Gerstlauer has ever done. And on top of that, I actually have a link showing that the founder, or I believe the CEO of Chance Rides actually was at the groundbreaking of this park, which that would definitely tell you Chance Rides is involved. And I have the picture right there. I just put it in the chat. And that would seem to indicate that this coaster is going to be made by Chance Rides, so that probably about kills it, but they might be involved with other rides, so who knows. But this would be for the Hot Wheels coaster if people are confused. So probably not super likely, but definitely an interesting possibility for sure. Yeah, for Dollywood, they also have Fire Chaser Express for Gerstlauer's. Still doesn't change my opinion on the speed park possibility. You think it's going to the South Dakota water park getting the RMC Raptor? That would be such an interesting twist of or turn of events. Um, so yeah. Oh yeah, and I didn't even mention that. Yeah, the Hot Wheels thing has the racing theme for sure. That's another thing. But um, overall, this park isn't one I'm like, wow, this is definitely gonna happen. But I will say the next 6 parks I do think have like a pretty legitimate chance. Although my next one um, is I mean, yeah, I could tell the South Dakota thing was a joke, but that would be absolutely wild. But anyways, so my next place I'm going to mention isn't a specific park. It's somewhere in Las Vegas. Now, I don't know if some casino would have has the room to build this or would want to do this. I don't think this would be Adventure Dome. They are very limited on space, and they are actually getting a new food court for next year. So, as far as I'm aware, so probably not Adventure Dome, but potentially somewhere in Las Vegas. Not sure exactly what casino or what attraction it could be, but it could be open year round. Definitely being in Las Vegas, since they said high profile location, definitely would count towards that. Only things against this is this would probably be pretty risky to buy, especially for somewhere that doesn't currently have any other rides. And this is probably not going to Adventure Dome. Oh yeah, the other reason El Loco is probably a potentially similar ride to what an Infinity would offer with the Beyond Vertical Drop. So yeah, but I think this could happen if there's some random place willing to buy this, because I mean, coasters, large scale coasters have been built in Vegas before. Speed the Ride Part 2, exactly. Like, I mean, we have Big Apple coasters. Speed the Ride existed for a little bit. So who knows? And potentially, if the right place does it, potentially could also have a racing theme. But that's a potential thought I have. Chat, what do you think of this one? Las Vegas being a possibility. What are your thoughts here? Put your thoughts down in the chat, and then I'll probably go to the next potential park here pretty soon afterwards. If we get anything of note, we'll see what happens. Not seeing anything in the chat currently. No way, not many casinos want coasters anymore. That's probably accurate. Yeah, this is probably like something that, and yeah, History and Leisure makes a good point. But yeah, probably 20 years ago. I think we'll see. It's definitely not like the one I'm betting on for sure. I mean, I'm not betting on any of these, but we'll see what happens. So, yeah. But Las Vegas, that's kind of the possibility there. The next park I want to go into is, and actually these next 5, actually the next 4 I would say are pretty interchangeable for me in terms of most to least likely. I think really they could go either way. But the next one I have is Cotaland in Austin, Texas. For those of you who don't know, this is a small park in Austin right by a racetrack that is rapidly expanding. They have a few kiddie coasters. They are getting a relocated Schwarzkopf Wildcat from the UK. And if they really want to go crazy, potentially maybe they could go out and get this Gerstlauer Infinity. So it's a rapidly expanding park. It's near a racetrack, making it both high profile, I would think, and the racing tees would make sense. It probably could be open year round. I know that some parts of Texas do get pretty cold in the winter, but I would assume that it should be able to. But the only problems here is the park is still very new, and this would be a huge step up from anything they've gotten in the past. So we'll see what happens. This is, what do you guys think of Cotaland in Austin, Texas? I saw someone mention it earlier. So yeah, I'll get to Alabama Adventure. I'm gonna get to that. It is up there for me, so we'll see. The Cotaland website is like not also that great. I tried to look at it too. So yeah, so that is also kind of concerning, but who knows? Maybe they could be the park. But we'll see what happens, for sure. The next park I have is one of two potential options in Orlando. Now, this was one I mentioned that I thought of, but I've been told they don't have the room for it, and looking at a Google Maps, it seems that way. It seems like they would have to gut a building or something, which probably isn't really likely. But Icon Park in Orlando, Florida is my next park. Open year-round. It is that. It could be considered a high-profile location because it is in Orlando. It's not too far from Universal, so that would work that way. Rapidly expanding with insane attractions. They're getting the world's tallest drop tower and slingshot this year. They also have the world's tallest sky screamer. The coaster, the Infinity Coaster, could be compact. I don't know if it would be compact enough because their space limitations look pretty serious. And IAPA is in Orlando, so that could be another thing for Icon Park. But the biggest issue here really is space. Also, would they get a coaster right after they got two already record-breaking rides? Is kind of the other thing. So, yeah, a bit of a weird one. I haven't heard this one get mentioned nearly as much, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, they just got their drop tower and slingshot. Yeah, that's probably kind of the thing going against them. They already just got something so big, and I'm not even entirely sure how that park works. So it probably is not super likely, but an interesting option. Yeah, we'll see what happens for sure. But the next park I have is another Orlando park, Fun Spot. Either Fun Spot Park in Orlando, most likely the Fun Spot Orlando, which is the location near Universal. It's the one with White Lightning. They haven't gotten a coaster in a while, so that could be a reason. It is open year-round, and like I said, they haven't gotten a coaster in a while. You could say it's high profile because it's in Orlando. That would be stretching it, but like I said, don't look into the thing too much, to be honest. IAPA is in Orlando this year. Once again, another thing that would help it. But the big problem here that a lot of people have pointed at, myself included, is they are already spending a lot, at least for them, with the Fun Spot Atlanta RMC for 2022, which they already said, I believe, was their biggest coaster investment ever. So to double down would be quite ambitious. I wouldn't quite put it past them, but it seems pretty difficult to justify. But certainly this could be the one. Who knows? Oh yeah, and the racing theme, right? They have go-karts. Also would fit that as well. So there you go. That's the other thing. Theme Park Horizons did a not Horizons. Theme Park Hunting did a video on it recently. If you want to check that out, it's in the description. So about why it could be Fun Spot. So we'll see what happens. I certainly could see this happening. It's just not my top option. I'll just say that much. Yeah. IAPA is always in Orlando. Yes, it is. But they've made some announcements What was it? The GCI Titan track they showed off at Fun Spot. So, did I say it was this year? Yeah, it's always in Orlando, but yeah. And I don't know about their space situation either for Fun Spot, but yeah. So, I meant IAPA in the US. It's always in Orlando. Yes, there's different ones around the globe in different places, but yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. That is certainly one to take a look at for sure. And technically, it is a chain park, but I could definitely see this one being the announcement. The next park I have, and honestly, I'd probably put this one a little lower now that I look at it, but I'm probably a little biased being a Californian. This is the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. They are, I don't know where they would put this. They definitely have to take something out. But this park is open year-round. It is an iconic boardwalk park, and it is on the ocean, so I would say that probably makes it high profile. The coaster, if they needed it to be, could be compact. Biggest issue here is lack of space. But this park also, I would say, would have the demand and potential attendance to get a ride like this. It feels weird that they don't honestly have a Gerstlauer Eurofighter, just because of all the other seaside parks that have them. So that's another thing. But the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, yeah, I'd put it a little lower now. But I definitely think it could be a possibility, but they don't have any room. They'd have to remove something. And depending on what that is, we'll see what happens. But yeah, there is no room. I've been there, so I'm like, I'd love to see it, but I don't know how much space the log flume takes up and how long it would take to get that out of there. Probably a little bit too long, but they might be able to get pretty creative because they have a lot of rides already in a pretty cramped plot of land. So we'll see. Six Flags over Fresno if it ever happens. Yeah, so that's my that's one of the options I have as well that I think is definitely more likely than something like NASCAR Speed Park or like Wild Adventures, but probably isn't the top option. Then the park that I think this is probably going to, and seemingly the front runner for this edition, is Alabama Adventure. And the reason why I think this is probably the one, even though, yes, it's not year-round currently, and it is not a high-profile park at all. But like I said, don't look into that too much. They can probably figure out a way to tell people that it is a high-profile location. And I'm not saying it's a bad park. I've heard great things about it, but it's just, probably not what most people would say is high-profile. They have a new land clearing. Actually, it's not really even that new, but they were teasing their land clearing a few weeks ago. And from what I've heard on forums, they have openly wanted to work with Gerstlauer and get a new coaster. I mean, we've known about getting the new coaster. And they've actually wanted to do a winter event. That has apparently been discussed. So the theory that I've heard is introduce both the winter event with a new coaster. So that is kind of the idea. And they do have a space that someone was up nerds on the Coaster Force forum. I'm actually gonna try to put this up if possible of the land clearing they have, because it's pretty large. So definitely could fit. This is like where the old Boomerang was. So I'm gonna pull it up. From what I heard, I believe this was where the old Boomerang was. But yeah, so here's a picture of the land clearing that isn't that close, like zoomed in. So, but if you can see it here, yeah, here's the land clearing that they have for the new ride. Whatever they're gonna be getting could be a water slide, but who knows. It's a pretty large plot of land, as you can see, because there's these little buildings scattered around. So it certainly could fit something like an Infinity Coaster for sure. Yes, it's not, once again, it's not located in a high profile area. And yes, it could mean touristy. But what I will say here is that, like I said, don't look too much into it. Look at what happened with Defiance and that record-breaking coaster. It wasn't really all that record-breaking. So the boomerang plot is far away from the water park. Good to know. So that probably gives it even more of a chance. So that is my kind of prediction if I were to do something now. And with that being said, any thoughts on any of the parks that I have mentioned? Yeah, I'm gonna go back because I missed some stuff, right? Don't take out the log flume. I did enjoy the log flume, but I haven't been in a while. I'm getting a lot of texts. I don't know why. But anyways, yeah, but oh yeah, right. And the log flume is, I think, on top of Sea Serpent. So that would be tricky as well. I still legitimately think Alabama Adventure is the top possibility. Fun Spot certainly is up there. And then I've mentioned some of the other places, Santa Cruz, Icon Park if they have space, if they can find something. And Cotaland for sure are, like, I think really legitimate possibilities. Yeah, it should be interesting. Yeah, plenty of room at Alabama Adventure. Hang time replaced the boomerang, exactly. So there you go. So that certainly could also help out there. Yes, Defiance still technically is a record breaker, but I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The person who, oh, okay, this is about the article. The person who wrote the announcement wasn't trying to hide Easter eggs in the article. They just wrote it to get it published so we could start picking about it with surgical precision. Exactly, that could totally be the thing. And like I said, that's why I said earlier, even though I did use it as a bit of a basis, don't necessarily look too hard into the racing and the high profile location, because that can mean a lot. The Alabama Adventure, yeah, they did tease the Rocket Racer, but they did get that. I think that's what people are getting confused by when there was, like, some people are saying that they were already getting a water slide. That is not confirmed. But yeah, so that's pretty much, like, my thoughts on that. For sure, man. It's such an adjustment to actually do the streams without a guest. It's, like I said, the first time I've done it in a while, so pretty big adjustment for sure. But yeah, guess it's either Alabama Adventure or Fun Spot America for sure. Icon Park isn't getting it. I just thought it was an interesting possibility to throw out. I just wanted to get something out there that I thought was potentially reasonable, but I know their space is pretty difficult. It would be a pretty difficult situation. So Dollywood, no chance. They're getting the I think they're getting another multi-launch coaster, but it's a family coaster, so that I highly doubt it. And definitely not Frontier City, because it's part of Six Flags. So I think, like I said, Six Flags, I think, is completely out of it. So yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Rocket Racer was new for 2021. So yeah. But as an Alabama Adventure fanboy, you're glad that you're in the top conversation for this. I think deservedly so. I mean, even if it doesn't end up being Alabama Adventure, I mean, there's still a lot of reason to think it is. So, yeah, Kentucky Kingdom. Are they even open in the winter? I don't think so. No, I'm pretty sure they're not. So, Probably not. Yeah, it's not open year round unless they announce the winter event, which actually is possible because it's Hershen, right? But Hershen would probably not have the manufacturer handle their own announcement. But we'll see about that. I guess I didn't go through it, but some potential parks I've heard of that people mentioned that I don't think it's going to be. Cedar Point already went into that. SeaWorld San Antonio, some people mentioned they're already getting a new ride next year. The two Nick Universe parks, New Jersey's not getting it because they have a coaster that's basically an Infinity. Minnesota has a Eurofighter, but they have pretty tight room. And the company that owns both of them is in a pretty rough financial situation from my understanding. Belmont Park does not have the room. Universal Studios Florida, it would be too low capacity and they're not going to build it after doing two coasters back-to-back years. Dollywood's a no because of the multi-launch. Silver Dollar City's a no because they're supposed to get a weird RMC Fire in the Hole deal for like 2023, I believe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Christian, you're really pulling for the fun spot. We'll see. It could very well be fun spot. I just wouldn't go too crazy, like expecting that it's gonna be that for sure. But yeah. For sure. Any new major malls being built anywhere? There's that one in Miami that seems to be getting delayed forever. I don't know where that is going, but nothing that I'm aware. I just saw a donation came in. Central Florida Coasters donated $5. You should really do a coaster time stream with Coaster Journey. He's a great coaster YouTuber. I'm not gonna guarantee any guests on here, but it's always great to get suggestions. That's what I'll say there. So thank you for the $5 donation and for the suggestion, for sure. Much appreciated. So let's see. Yeah, but Alabama Adventure, yeah, like if you haven't been following them on social media, they have the land clearing and they have the teasing. So we'll see what will happen. But we'll see. Wonderland in Texas. Interesting. That's actually really interesting. One, I don't think it would happen, but I think that certainly could be. I mean, maybe it would make a better number 10 than like Wild Adventures for me. They do have a pretty decent coaster lineup. I just don't think it'd be something they'd spring out to get. But yeah. And I thought we were gonna get a lot of people saying it was gonna go to Cedar Point, but yeah. I'm surprised we haven't. All right, Christian. All right, yeah. I feel about the same. I think Alabama Adventure more likely, but would not be shocked if Funspot gets it. Maybe a little bit just because of how much money they're putting into the two coasters, but it certainly could be a possibility. Gerstlauer doesn't seem anything like the style of coasters at Wonderland. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, so I guess now we'll do so now I think we're kind of toward the end of like my like speculation. Also, thank you guys, 19 viewers. If you haven't subscribed, absolutely make sure to. It'd be so appreciated. And then I'll give a special thanks to I guess let's see. Coaster Studios, his video was helpful in finding the finding some parks. Theme Park Hunting, seeing the Fun Spot video was interesting as well. And then also thank you to What's Up Nerds on Coaster Force for sending me the plot of land for the boomerang. So that was much appreciated as well. So, but with that being said, my question is, do we want to do Q&A, or do you want me to go into some other news things and like give my thoughts on some news things that have happened in the past few weeks? Because it might be a little bit before I do my next Coaster Time stream, just because of a few different things. But yeah, chat, what do you guys think about that Q&A, or want me to go into the news a little bit that's happened? Because I actually already have a document of a few things. I won't have a slideshow as like I usually do, but I can go into that a bit. Why not both? It won't be a normal news segment because I don't have the slideshow, because this is like, I pretty much planned this pretty last minute. Like I planned it yesterday, which I guess isn't really last minute, but all right, we'll do the news. All right, okay then, I'll go into it. I don't have the things up here either, but I'll go into it because I have like some stuff. You can also give your thoughts as well, so why not? Yeah, we'll go into the news as well. Sounds like a good thing. So let's see. I want to try to find the biggest of things that like you might not know about, because I have some stuff, but let's see. Okay, actually this is pretty big. So pretty much, if you didn't hear about this, I think this slid pretty under the radar, but if you guys saw a few weeks ago, Premier Rides was teasing a record-breaking coaster going to Saudi Arabia, and we really didn't know what exactly that was. Well, now we actually do know what it is, because Saudi Arabia is actually going to receive the world's fastest and tallest traveling coaster with Skyloop, which is actually going to be a portable Premier Skyrocket 2. And it will first operate at, I'm going to totally butcher this, Riyadh Winter Wonderland. So, yeah, I'll put the link in the chat here. Obviously, a bit unfortunate that this is going to a country that isn't the most accessible, to say the least. That's definitely putting it nicely. But it is interesting for sure that this was something that came out. Certainly wasn't something I was going to be expecting, but yeah. Yeah, I think for this, I'll also take any questions. So if you have any thoughts on the news, and I'll also take questions while going through a few of these, because I think I only have like a few things, but better than nothing, I suppose. Who is everyone gonna be for Halloween? I don't even know what I'm doing for Halloween. Probably no trick or treating, but fun for you guys who are gonna do that. My brother, I don't know what my brother's doing, but he's doing something. So I haven't gone trick-or-treating in like so long. So, man, that's almost like a nostalgic thing for me at this point. It's not going to Six Flags Kidia. Yeah, that also is significant. It is not. Yeah. When's the next coaster time? I mentioned this earlier. It could be a little bit. I'm hoping early-ish November. I'll be having a highly anticipated guest who I haven't had before. Actually, I'll plug this in. I'll plug in Theme Park Hunting's actually doing a live stream on October 30th, Saturday, October 30th. It's going to be an On the Hunt live stream. They're going to have a lot of segments and things like that, so keep an eye out for that. If you enjoy Coaster Time, I'm sure that's going to be really fun. I'll try to be there depending on what's going on with my schedule, but that should be really fun, and hopefully for those of you who watch this, you can go over there and enjoy that. I would highly recommend. So I don't think the stream is up yet, but keep an eye out for that. So wanted to mention that. Let's see. But good question. When will the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, the next one, come out? I have no idea. Let's go for a... I don't know. The problem is I don't know the normal day that they like to release them. I'm gonna guess they like to release their trailers on either a Thursday or a Friday. So let's go with just a total shot in the dark for that film. Total shot in the dark. Let's go with November 4th. Yeah, let's go with that. November 4th. If that's what it is, then I have psychic abilities. But yeah. Dorney Park has been teasing as well. Recently? Really? Haven't seen that. Six Flags over Vegas. Wouldn't that be something? But yeah. No, it's fine if you ask questions. This is both like kind of news and Q&A. I'll kind of get my way around. I'll probably end this though in like 20-ish minutes, something like that. Yeah. This is unrelated, but what are your thoughts on Fahrenheit at Hershey Park? I am going soon. Great coaster, definitely best in the back row, although I've only experienced it in the back row, but mostly everyone who's ever been disappointed by the ride rode in the front from what I've heard, so definitely do it back row. It's actually pretty forceful, not like ridiculously intense, but it is pretty forceful. That airtime hill at the end is absolutely killer as well. First drop is incredible, but you don't need me to tell you that. And the inversions are some are relatively forceful, but also pretty fun, and it's good variety. So, yeah, there you go. You think the stream length will come out on Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern? Yeah, probably. I mean, maybe you don't want to put it out too early, but don't want to put it out too late. That's for sure. So, yeah. Yeah, that is part of my news. That Uncle Bernie's got that they have a new wacky worm. Wasn't gonna announce it here, but yeah, that is certainly something. Uncle Bernie's got a new coaster to replace Abandoned Mine. Quite the downgrade, I must say, but at least you guys got something. But that's a pretty big yikes. Is the Dorney Gravity Group shuttle coaster still on track? No, it's not on track. If I don't know what on track is, I don't know if on track is happening because I actually don't know. Uncle Bernie's getting the new Gerstlauer. Imagine. That'd be hilarious. That would actually be hilarious if they actually did that. Lots of interesting movement at Clementon Park, but there's no way they're open in the winter. There's no way. But it'll be interesting to see what Clementon and really that entire new chain does for the future. But yeah, I'm gonna go to the next news thing. Let's see. Well, Magic Mountain, this one's pretty obvious, but Magic Mountain, they announced Wonder Woman Flight of Courage, which will be basically a clone of Jersey Devil Coaster with a extended layout. Basically the extensions are toward the beginning with the lift hill situation. It has to take a turn out of the station. It'll have a huge overbank toward the end after the final hill on what would be Jersey Devil. And I believe that's the extent of the length changes. I'm certainly intrigued by the coaster. I don't think it'll be like a top 2 or potentially even 3 coaster at the park, but being someone who lives 2.5 hours away, I'm certainly intrigued to ride it. I actually did give my thoughts in Coaster Chal did a call-in show, and I gave my thoughts on there for anyone who wants to check that out. He did a stream and he also uploaded a clip from that. So, but yeah, I'm intrigued for sure for the coaster, and I correctly predicted it back in February of 2020, a Wonder Woman themed Raptor. So we'll see. I underestimate the Raptors. I do. Railblazer was like before it opened, I didn't think it was gonna be much, and it was incredible. So, but I'm still I'm gonna have tempered expectations for this one. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Indiana Beach is installing a Cyclone. Yes, that isn't part of this. I think I announced that a few weeks ago, but yes, they are actually doing that. So, if you didn't know, there you go. So, uh, yo, dude, kind of unrelated, but you've clipped the moment where someone donated asking if you could be in the video. Yeah, you can absolutely upload that. That's fine. Yeah, go for it. Coaster Journey, absolutely, you can do that. No, yeah, go for that. Sure. That works. Fine with me. So, what else? Is Indiana Beach still getting Chimera? Yeah, probably 2022 edition, but yes, they are getting it still. And, yeah, so that's the Magic Mountain news. What else do we have that was interesting? Oh yeah, Energylandia, they're getting another new coaster, a Vekoma family coaster named Honey Harbor in 2022. It's in addition to Choco Chip Creek in a new themed area called Sweet Valley, which looks pretty sweet, unintended, the theming anyways. So, yeah, that's interesting. I think it'll be their 18th roller coaster, 19th if you count the powered coaster. So they're kind of trying, I guess, to they'll beat Magic Mountain within like the next like 2 to 3 years, but I guess they're trying to get to 20 first, and they're probably not. But you never know with Magic Mountain and their construction, how long it'll be till Wonder Woman really opens. So definitely worth a shot, I suppose. Stricker's Grove Gerstlauer. That would be so frustrating. Like, they're only open, like, I don't even know how many days in the year, but hardly any. Yeah, the new concept art for Sweet Valley, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Looks insane. Well, the theming looks really nice. We'll see how it actually comes out in actuality. But from the concept art, looks really nice for sure. But let's see. There are trucks stuck at the southern border with parts of Chimera. Wait, are you actually serious? Like, is that actually a thing? I mean, I guess I am not in the loop on this, but if that's true, that's a very awkward situation for Chimera. That's not really political if that's legit. So, that is kind of a weird problem for sure if that's actually true. Yeah. So there's that. What else? There was like a few other things. I know Christian mentioned it earlier. Disney World, they debuted the Genie and Lightning Lane system. It's kind of the system. Honestly, I don't think it works all that. I mean, I heard it was an absolute disaster the first day and probably the first few days that they put it in, but honestly, that's kind of expected. I think it's just kind of a shame that they got rid of the free fast pass system because it was so different, and what they've put in place seems pretty weak, to be honest. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, but I haven't been to the park since they put this in, and I have no idea how it's going to impact my experience as someone who probably won't have it. Although I've had two really good experiences with with Disneyland within the last few months. Two of the best visits I've ever had. So, it'll definitely be interesting to see how this changes things. Yeah, we'll see. Is Dollywood good? I've never been. I mean, I would assume yes. Everyone seems to praise it. Dollywood or Carowinds, if it were between which one I'd rather go to, Dollywood. Carowinds probably has, I mean, yeah, they have the better coaster collection, but Dollywood just has the whole package. So I would pick Dollywood. But I've never been to either. Let's see. I think I went through everything. Oh, and there's a if for those of you who haven't seen it, another Saudi Arabian thing. There's been a decent amount of news from there. Weirdly enough, a new themed resort named The Rig is supposed to open in the near future. They have what looks to be like a I think it's a Mauer roller coaster. I don't think they confirmed it, but that's what it looked like. That almost goes into the ocean. Super weird. Once again, unfortunate that it's going to a place that is pretty inaccessible for a lot of people. But for sure, it looks pretty wild. And I think it was built on what used to be an old oil rig, which I think has sparked some controversy. So, pretty interesting project over there, for sure. But I also posted a link for anyone who wants to see that. But yeah. But yeah, so there's that. I think that's pretty much all the news. So I'll just do Q&A for like another 10-ish minutes, and that'll probably be the end of this. I'll have to timestamp this so I actually get the parts down. So like the speculation, then the Q&A and all that. So for anyone who wants to watch afterwards. But good turnout today. Thank you to everyone who's come on to watch. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And it's just been fun doing this. So yeah. Also, if somehow there's a way I can do a live stream reaction to this announcement, I'll do it. It's very unlikely though, because it being at IAAPA probably really complicates things. I'd have to have someone there that I'd have to get permission from who'd have to be live streaming it. So that is probably pretty unlikely, but certainly if that's able to work out, that would be great. But yeah. But yeah. Did you see Six Flags America confirm they are not RMC in Roar? I have not. That's interesting though. I'll have to that they actually confirmed that. Oh, if you could send me something, that'd be much appreciated. Because I have not heard of that. But dang, that is that's pretty unfortunate. I think they made a mistake RMCing the Discovery Kingdom version over the America version, because I mean I do enjoy Joker more, no doubt, but than the old Roar, because I wrote it at Discovery Kingdom. But that was kind of surprising that they didn't go with America's back then, and it's even more surprising now. I haven't heard about the new resort in downtown Oklahoma City. I'll have to look into that. I have not heard of that. That's new to me. Let's see what else there is. Anyone considering this 2022 Gerstlauer may be going to Silver Dollar City? No, it's pretty well documented that Silver Dollar City is getting some sort of fire in the whole replacement sort of thing. That's supposed to be from RMC. You can look on forums and stuff. I'm not super in the know of that, but I do know that that's something that's going on. So, yeah. So, I don't think Silver Dollar City's getting it. Would be a good addition, but I just don't think it's going to happen. IAAPA predictions? I don't even know what to predict for IAAPA. So, I mean, we're getting this new Gerstlauer coaster. I think it's going to Alabama Adventure. That's my prediction there. But I don't know. I don't know what to predict from it. Hopefully it would be nice to get some more information about like Inca Park, even though it's a long ways away. And actually probably, you know what? We're probably going to get the full layout of the Fun Spot RMC if they decide they don't want to announce it on their own time. I think we're going to get the full layout, a POV. I think that's possible. So that's my other prediction. Full announcement and name of the Fun Spot RMC. That's a pretty legitimate prediction, right? So if it happens, it happens, I guess. So there's like kind of your, I hope that answers your question. Let's see. It's on Screamscape. Got it. Okay, I'll look at that then. Let's see. It's on Screamscape. Got it. Okay, I'll look at that then. Let's see. It's on Screamscape. Got it. Okay, I'll look at that then. Let's see. It's on Screamscape. Got it. Okay, I'll look at that then. It's on Screamscape. Got it. Okay, I'll look at that then. let's see what else. Random, but what do I think Six Flags New England's new coaster could be? Oh, they need a launch so bad. If they get anything that isn't a launch, I'd legitimately be shocked. But the problem is I don't know that they'd want to go with a SNS Air launch because of Max Force's issues. So maybe a Premier launch coaster would probably be a good fit. Yes, I know that Lake Compounce has the Skyrocket 2, but as long as they get a coaster that's not a Skyrocket 2, it's fine. So I've never thought it's been that big of a deal to have a Premier coaster that isn't like a Skyrocket 2. So I think, yeah, it'll be something like that. Yeah, Inca Park's doing some teasing on their Instagram. It looks like an amazing park. Have no idea what this, if it's gonna happen. Millie Man just came in. This is not Defiance. I linked a article, and it's pinned. Coaster Studios also made a video on this, giving his predictions. But Ride Entertainment announced yesterday that they are doing that Gerstlauer is going to be opening a new coaster in the U.S. in late 2022. So you can check out that article. It's in the pinned, and it's also in the description. And I gave my prediction that it's going to Alabama Adventure. But there's certainly more than a few potential places it could go to. Nice. See, Ambassador, nice to have you on here. And thank you for coming on, and thanks for the compliment. Let's see. My dream is a Vekoma launch. Yeah, that would probably be the best deal. But I mean, once one park in the U.S. gets a major Vekoma coaster, and I guess Guardians is a major Vekoma coaster, and so is Tron, but like a thrilling Vekoma coaster that is more focused on the layout, it'll probably get a bunch of parks to do so. So it only takes one, I think. So we'll see. Frontier City SNS Scream and Swing. Six Flags has not gotten one of those in a while, but that would be nice to see for sure. Don't see it happening, but we'll see. Between Max Force's issues and noise with the neighborhood nearby, I'd bet on a custom Premier Rides launch coaster. Yeah, probably would be good news. Or not good news. A good decision there. I don't believe Max Force has been very reliable. It's not been all that great. I mean, it's been better than Steel Curtain, I guess, for whatever that's worth. That really isn't saying much, but there you go. I'm going to leave in about 5 minutes, so ask your last questions here, and then I'll end it. Like I said, it's been fun doing this again. Basically, not a suspended family coaster or a Disney coaster. That's basically everything since 2005. I believe so. Yeah, basically. I mean, I don't know. Different people kind of argue about when New Gen Vekoma started. But I mean, we don't really have. I think any way you look at it, we don't really have one. That's like a thrilling coaster. So, yeah. I think it's a little later though than I think I was Stingray the first one that was kind of like, even though that failed miserably, it looked like a good ride though. It's certainly something I'd like to try, but I'm not an expert on kind of the transformation of Vekoma, I suppose. But yeah, any last questions, like I said, make sure to ask them now, and I'll be heading out in like 3 minutes. If we don't get any other questions in the next few-ish minutes, then I guess I'll head out in like a minute or two. I'll wait like a minute or two, but like I said, awesome to do this. Hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on the various different parks that I think could be getting the Gerstlauer coaster, and hearing my thoughts on Q&A and hearing some potentially new news. So we'll see. What's my prediction for Frontier City? I think they could really use a Starflyer for their next attraction. So that would be my guess. I don't know when that would happen, but certainly something they could use. Yeah. Do I think Apollo or Candemonium? Which looks better? Haven't ridden a B&M Hyper yet, even though I'm at 96 credits. 96, yes. I'm gonna say probably Candemonium. You could say I'm biased toward Hershey Park, but I actually don't have that high of an opinion on B&M Hypers. So even though I haven't ridden one, so we'll see what happens when I finally ride one. It certainly will be an interesting experience. I don't know what will be the first, but my honest guess is if it's not one that assuming it's one that already exists, it'll probably be Mako or Candemonium. That is gonna be my guess for what's gonna be my first B&M Hyper. I'm trying to think of what other ones it could be, and I don't really think it'll be the next one. Will I bring back the random RCDB coaster series? Probably not. Just because they were like 20 to 30 minute videos. They didn't do amazingly well. And I know the people who watched it liked it. But yeah, I don't have any plans to do it in the near future. That's for sure. Did the California's Great America Hyper get canceled? I'm not sure of their current plans, but what was supposed to be a Hyper going to that park, if I'm correct, actually ended up being Orion. Ended up turning into Orion for Kings Island, so yeah. According to an insider, Disney is planning on releasing a major trailer tomorrow. That news just dropped literally as I'm typing this. Dang it, my November 4th or whatever, yeah, 4th prediction is probably wrong. But oh well. I tried, I guess. But we'll see what happens with that. I in my public speaking class, we have some people really into the MCU, so I'm sure they'll have plenty to say about it if it does drop tomorrow. I have that class on Thursday next, so yeah. You can never go wrong with a B&M Hyper. Yeah. Like one of the most well-known coaster enthusiast sayings in existence. For sure. Yeah. Well, I'll see about that though. I don't know that you can go wrong with it. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be my kind of ride. We'll see. Don't sleep on Raging Bull. That one's one that is kind of intriguing because it's different. I should make a video ranking coasters by their looks. I'd have to probably pick a specific like park or chain or something. I probably won't, but I mean I kind of do that with my anticipated new coasters for each year. It's probably something I won't do like insanely often. Oh yeah, actually Goliath over Georgia actually I scratch what I said. Goliath is probably the most likely B&M Hyper I ride, at least first, because I do have reasons to go to Atlanta, and I've been there before. I've just never been to over Georgia, so yeah, actually yeah, Goliath is probably the one. Okay, so it's actually past the time I said before I was gonna leave, so but that's fine. It's been awesome answering you guys' questions, and I thank you all for coming on, and if you haven't subscribed, that'd be very much appreciated, and thank you all so much for coming on to watch this. So with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time here on Coaster Hour. Coaster Hour. I did the thing that I did in the Coaster Time stream where I left the studio. So now officially for real this time. See you guys.